Morning, everyone. It's Joe Waxman, and I'm back with another mini reading. This morning, I would like to go over a renowned motivational speaker and wellness coach. I don't even know how he titles himself, but Tony Robbins, really powerful guy, really commands the stage and has a huge presence. I just thought it would be really interesting to see what his chart looked like, see what creates that kind of magnanimity, like this bigger than life kind of persona that can just light up the whole stage and really take charge of the crowd. He's an interesting guy, I think. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Check out my website, macroastrology.com, if you want to book a reading. All right, let's begin. All right, here he is, Tony Robbins, 29th of February, 1960, 8:10 p.m., Glendora, California. Should have gotten rid of these transits, but I'll leave them here. Okay, so Sun in Pisces, right on the 6th house cusp. What does that mean? Well, what's interesting about Sun in Pisces, especially on the 6th house cusp, I mean, Sun in Pisces is very big, nebulous. They just remind me of the ocean. They're just huge beings, totally compassionate, but don't mistake their seeming big-heartedness, and boundarylessness for weakness, because these are not weak people. And just try going up against one. It's like going up against the ocean. They can just overwhelm you and match whatever energy you throw at them. They can mimic it. It's a water quality. It's especially a Pisces quality, that they can just reflect whatever energy you throw at them and just mimic it and come back at you, with way more volume than you can imagine, like a tidal wave. So huge, big, mind and heart and generosity and all that. Pisces is just vast. What can you say? They're vast. And they can be out there. They can be like, there's a tendency to be not very logical with Pisces. Mercury gets debilitated there. She has a debilitated Mercury here, but his Mercury is really interesting. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, huge energy. What's interesting about the 6th house for Pisces is that if you look at the Pisces ascendant, if Pisces is on the ascendant, then we get to kind of learn about the nature of Pisces by examining the different houses. And that really tells us about the nature of Pisces. What Pisces has is in the 6th house on the Pisces chart is Leo. What does that mean? Why is Leo in the 6th house? Well, Leo is where Pisces shines, in the 6th house. So for Pisces nature, Piscean nature, with Leo in the 6th house, they're very generous and serving. Like 6th house is the house of service to others, right? Kind of like the servant's house, the house of where we get up and we do things for others. We serve, we give, we're generous there. We're, living our mundane life. It's also the house of conflicts and resolution, health and sickness. But, Pisces can be very understanding in that way, great at being able to resolve differences as well. So Pisces shines in the 6th house. Pisces sun, particularly, shines in the 6th house. There's a certain resonance there, and we can see this another way. This is the 6th house, but 6 from the 6th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is Leo. So that's another way of looking at it. 6th house, 6 from the 6 is Leo. So, and Pisces, sun rules Leo. So there's a bit of a leonine component to Pisces and sun Pisces in the 6th, where it shines. This is where Pisces sun can shine. So that is an interesting component. A very generous, subservient, serving 6th house sun. And it also looks at the 12th house, where that's Pisces' original house in the natural zodiac. So a kind of spiritual placement. This is like the sort of, in Zen, where they say, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Because Pisces is the sign that would represent after enlightenment, so to speak, right? Because if there's an enlightenment, that happens with Aquarius, with Uranus, 11th house. That's where we become enlightened, you know, the end of the 11th house. And 12th house is after enlightenment. So naturally, after enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. So Pisces sun in the 6th house is almost like signifying like a post-enlightenment sun. Not that I'm saying he is enlightened in the most traditional sense, although he is quite enlightened as a human being. But anyway, you know, do that with what you will. It's not meant to say that all Pisces sun are enlightened and, you know, like Zen masters and all that in the 6th house. Anyway, you get it, hopefully. Don't take it the wrong way. All right. It's also part of this grand trine, which is great. This Pisces sun is trining his MC, which gives a huge boost to his recognition and career. Also to Neptune in the 2nd house, which I might as well cover now because, well, it's in Scorpio, and it's right on the 2nd house cusp. Neptune on the 2nd house often gets a bad rep because this is the money house, and this is where we get our self-worth, and Neptune dissolves things, creates loss. And so people with Neptune on the 2nd house, I have Neptune in the 2nd house. Neptune in the 2nd house can create sort of loss of money and just giving away money and just like incredible generosity, because Neptune is the original ruler of Pisces. So this is a really good aspect for a sun in Pisces to have trine to Neptune, because it greatly you know, empowers it. But back to this, yeah, there's incredible generosity with Neptune in the 2nd house, because boundarylessness, right? All your assets, you know, are given away to others easily, freely, right? But there's also the house of knowledge, and Neptune is a psychic planet. So if it's well aspected, which his really is, it's got this beautiful grand water trine. There's an ability to know things that seemingly have no connection to like studying, like rhyme or reason. Like, how do I know this? I don't know. I just know it. Psychic planet, right? So wherever Neptune is shows a potentiality for psychic awareness, predictive kind of psychic. It's not like Uranian psychic knowledge where we understand why we know it. Uranus is the planet of enlightenment. So we have the full picture with Uranus, where we just completely understand. We get it. Like, and we can explain everything about it. That's Uranus brilliance. Neptune is different. Neptune is where we know things and we don't know how we know it. And it's not logical. We just know it. And it often turns out to be true. If it's badly aspected, it can also represent illusion and delusion. We think we know something and it turns out to be completely false. But what this means is, because this is a house of knowledge and speaking, 2nd house rules the voice, as well as money, that he's making money by, you know, almost magical means. I mean, it's not so magical because we see how popular he is, but money just kind of comes in magically, but also knowledge does as well. And he just knows things. Like, he can just get up on stage or like talk to people, and, you know, he'll just know things out of the blue. Things will come to him and he'll just know them. And the good aspects make it, you know, mean that he's pretty much mostly true. And the Scorpio adds to that. It's water, you know, water. So this is deeply intuitive, psychic kind of awareness, psychic knowledge, right? Does have some squares here, especially to Venus as ascendant ruler and Mars. So there, you know, there are times where it could be wrong, but it gets better with age and he gets more aware, and, you know. So anyway, yeah, really strong sun. Great ability to overcome his enemies, but with great understanding. You know, Pisces, a well-aspected Pisces, strong Pisces is incredibly wise, has incredible knowledge, right? The Neptunian kind of knowledge. They just know things. So overcoming the enemies, competition, health and wellness. Well, he's a wellness coach, or I don't know if he calls himself a wellness coach, but he's into wellness. He's into health, you know, overall health, mental, physical, spiritual health. Right? Like, he just makes people better at their life, right? I want to go to Moon because that is his MC the significator of his, not necessarily his career. To understand his career, we check all three of these, and he has all three in water. So I mean, his career is pretty well defined. It's basically water element. So like spiritual, feeling, feeling secure, emotional security, wellness, mental health, that kind of thing. Intuitive, psychic, yeah, just all the water, themes and implications. But his MC's in Cancer, ruled by the moon. Moon's in the 7th house in Aries. Now you might wonder, like, okay, well, moon in Aries, that's not so great. But what is Aries? Think about this. Aries, especially in the 7th house. Okay. Aries is the first sign, and that's really significant. Some people think there's no significance to the numbers, and I can tell you that they're wrong, because I studied numbers before I studied Western astrology, and numbers, the actual significance of the numbers is very, very meaningful. I studied Japanese 9-ki, and the numbers are primary. It's 1 through 9, and each number has significance. But 1 in 12 out of the Western zodiac has a different significance from 1 in 9. But 1 in 12, Aries sign is the fire starter. It's the cardinal. It's the first cardinal sign. Cardinal fire. Fire needs to be started. It doesn't just start, and that's what separates man from animals, right? If we go in the woods, what do we need to protect ourselves from animals? We need fire. Right? That's the primary thing that they're scared of. Aries is the fire starter. Without Aries, there will be no fire, period, right? When you want a fire, you need Aries. Aries energy, not necessarily an Aries sun. You need Aries energy, because Aries starts the fire, and the fire, once started, can last forever. What does that mean? That means that Aries holds the spark of inspiration. Aries can start that fire in that can spread around the world. And I think even Jesus said he wanted to spread fires. He wanted to light fires. I can't remember. I don't know exactly. This is some fuzzy memory in my head. I don't study the Bible that much, but I know at least one other person said that, one other great philosopher. But anyway, starting fires. Once the fire started, it can spread endlessly. So Aries actually is the sign of the most inspirational person, right? Whatever's in Aries, that's where the inspiration comes from, the original inspiration, because Aries is the original starter, number 1 in the whole zodiac. Number 1, don't forget it. Aries will never let you forget that they are number 1. And they have every right to be number 1, because they are the ones that are bestowed with the power to start the fire, right? Aries moon in the 7th. What does the moon do? The moon not only rules the 10th house, public recognition, but moon brings the emotions, the power of the emotions, right? And what is 7th house? 7th house is the house of others, the house of marriage, the house of partnership. Not only that, 7th house, it's important to understand this, 7th house is the undifferentiated masses, okay? Hordes and masses of people, okay? And now to understand this clearly, let's look at the air houses, 3, 7, 11. 3 is neighbors, siblings, and casual friends. We can see friends from the 3rd house, but it's casual friends. It's like the gossip, chit chat, the people that you're friendly with, who are not your best friends. These are not your tribe, your core tribe, your core group. These are people you're just like casual with. You just chit chat and hang out and just whatever, gossip, and they're your neighborly types, your siblings, you're just whatever, right? Friends. Okay. This is the house of partnership, of one-on-one, husband, wife, best friends, type, wherever there's like a one-on-one, like me and that person, guy, girl, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like it could be a romantic, it could be non-romantic, wherever it's one-on-one. Also business partners, client, counselor type relationships where one person is, counseling another, all that, the one-on-one, all the one-on-ones. And the undifferentiated masses, the millions and millions, the hordes of people. 7th house. 11th house are the groups who are united around a common theme. Okay, it's not just friends. It's friends if you have like a clique or a tribe or a group of friends who are always hanging out. That could be 11th house, right? Like you're a tight group. You're a network. All networks like cults can be seen here. Any type of group, communities, internet communities even. These are all seen here, right? And we see a strong connection there as well with Uranus in Leo, trying the moon. So he's bringing in the, cult-like following with Uranus. Uranus denotes highly awake, highly aware, unusual, evolved, unique group of people who, with Tony Robbins on the stage, this is Leo describes, one person soaking up the attention of a bunch of other people. That's Leo's nature, right? So, that's very much describing what's going on there. And then this moon where he's pouring his emotions out to the masses in very inspiring ways. Libra ascendant has this ability because Aries is on the descendant. So often you'll see Libra ascendants, very powerful speakers, very powerfully able to connect to the masses. Just side note, completely different nature, but still incredibly strong ability. Hitler, Aries in the 7th house, and a bunch of planets in the 7th house. Okay, enough said. There were obviously plenty of other differences, but his ability to reach people on a deep, heartfelt level, that's Moon in Aries. And there's really no better combination for this. You couldn't put Moon in Taurus and have the same effect. Moon in Cancer, you couldn't have the same effect. Yeah, I mean, that would be good. Moon in Cancer would really make, that could make people cry, really easily. But you're not going to inspire people with Moon in Cancer the same way as you can with Moon in Aries in the 7th house. That's really powerful for a motivational speaker. This really good. Okay, Jupiter here would also be good. Jupiter in Aries in the 7th house. Jupiter, Moon or Jupiter. I don't know. Okay. Libra ascendant. Libra ascendant. The ascendants are really about all the houses, the signs in the houses. And Libra makes everything opposite. Everything's opposite. This is Aries house. Libra's the opposite sign, so it's in Libra. So they're bringing polarity to every single one of the houses. Libras are very fair and just, and all the Libra things. I'm not here to drive the individual nature signs home so much because I think we all get it. This is more of a quick reading. Great for being social, people type person. Leo's in the 11th house, so like great in communities. This is where they shine. This is where their heart is. Like they want to be seen in public. Even though Cancer can be timid and protective, it's still where their heart is. So they're very they're seen by the public in very heartfelt ways, right? Libra ascendant. So his Mercury is extremely powerful. You might think, oh, it's debilitated. The guy's dumb. Not even close. Not even with a shot. He's brilliant. I'll tell you what. The guy's a genius because he has South Node conjunct Mercury. That's one thing. South Node, and it's a tight, super tight conjunction within 1 degree. 1 degree. What South Node Mercury does is shows that somebody who is born with mercurial skills. He was born already being super intelligent, right? If some people say it's from past life, we have no way of verifying that. And some people are like, oh, they say it all the time. And, all these teachers agree with me. Past life this, past like that. I'm like, okay, they agree with you, but there's still no way we can verify, what somebody's past life is unless we take them into. But generally speaking, like you can do like past life regression, but like generally speaking, we don't know that this means this about we can't say that, right? We can say in this life, we know what it means, right? So just like use your mind. I have, just be logical. And he has great polarity here, incredible polarity, because South Node conjunct Mercury brings incredible mercurial knowledge, but in an intuitive way. Like South Node is a spiritual planet. It's where you just know. It's sort of Neptunian in that way. Like you just know. You just know you know. And nobody can tell you different because you already know, and you know better. I have South Node conjunct Jupiter, and South Node widely conjunct Chiron, 10 degrees, but Jupiter is much closer in the 7th house. So that gives me, great knowledge, where I just know things, or I can figure things out, or when I hear the truth, I know it, stuff like that. And I just know I know. I don't need confirmation. There's no outside, like somebody can tell me I'm wrong. I'm like, no, you're wrong. I know these things. I don't need you to tell me. In fact, I don't want you to tell me. But not only that, I mean, this is so powerful on its own, because what it does is it gives incredible knowledge into something that it shouldn't have knowledge in. Mercury's debilitated here because it just like drowns in Pisces, vast watery depth. But here he's able to bring the vast Pisces wisdom down to the Mercury level, because South Node, but also check this out. Mercury, stationary, retrograde. It's stationary. It's as slow as can be, right? And balanced too. Look, 0 declination. That means right dead center in the middle. That's rare. We don't see that often because Mercury moves so fast. There's very narrow window where you can get a stationary Mercury. My Mercury is almost stationary. It's a few days after, but it's a very slow Mercury. And I can tell you, a very slow Mercury is very good because it gives you this ability to think very slowly. Mercury is a fast-moving planet, right? And people's mind moves so fast they can't focus. If you have a slow Mercury, that's good. And mine's also in Taurus. That slows it down even more. If you have a slow Mercury, you can really think logically and clearly. And he has that. He has South Node conjunct stationary Mercury. The guy's a genius. I'm telling you, the guy is a genius because he can understand Piscean knowledge and wisdom, which is the biggest knowledge and wisdom, so big that it just gets confusing. And he's able to bring it down to the lower mind. Mercury rules the lower mind. He has these two things that make his debilitated Mercury into a super Mercury. This is better than an exalted Mercury. This is more powerful than an exalted Mercury, and it's in the 6th house. It's in the house of Virgo, where it's exalted. So this also empowers it even more. I'm telling you, the guy's a genius. That's another reason why he's able to be, this bigger than life kind of guy. And he's not following anyone. He's not following any, prefab textbook model to be who he is. He invented himself out of nothing, like out of nowhere. We're going to see proof of that even more. But look, Saturn is in Capricorn, conjunct the IC within a couple degrees, within 3 degrees. Okay, Saturn rules Capricorn. This guy's legit. This is his roots. This is his upbringing. He was brought up by his parents to be disciplined, to be hardworking, to never give up. The guy's hardworking as can be. The guy will outwork anyone. This is a house of work, of mundane, daily work. Saturn in Capricorn is the house of. Saturn in Capricorn signifies like an incredibly strong discipline, core structure, ability to just withstand and endure any hardship, to push through it like a champ and never give up. Like the guy's as strong as can be. And it's right from his roots, like his foundation, like he was born into it. He knows it to his core. Okay, I mean, this is incredibly strong Saturn. People with strong Saturns can overcome any difficulty. And if you see oppositions and squares, that's nothing. He'll make, he'll turn them into like, trines very quickly. It won't take him long to really resolve those conflicts and to master his chart. Jupiter's in Sag in the third house. Okay, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, right? Jupiter needs to be in, it doesn't need to be in Sag, but I mean, it does incredibly well in Sag because it rules Sag, so it's very philosophical. Again, Libra likes to invert everything. Capricorn is naturally at the top. Sagittarius is, normally in the ninth house, and it's in the third house. But what this does, it means he can write and communicate philosophy very well. He can bring it down to that mercurial level, right? And he can convey it in a regular, normal tone to, like, this is the house of neighbors and like chit chat and gossip and friends. So he can bring that very high philosophy down to real street level, like where you're just hanging out on the street and he's spouting wisdom. That's probably what he did originally. Like, he's just spouting wisdom to his friends and neighbors, and wherever he went, he's just like talking about this incredibly mind-blowing, philosophical stuff. That's what this does, right? Okay, square his Mercury. That's not great for Mercury, but Mercury's already in Pisces, so what it's doing is it's just making him more philosophical. Like, he's not going to be a mathematician with this combination, even though he probably could do math quite well. He's not going to be, a scientist or a logician, even though, well, actually, he does have a scientific bent perspective, but overall, he's not overly scientific, right? Ascendant Lord Venus, which is also ruling his 8th house, is conjunct Mars in Aquarius, in the 4th house, but approaching the 5th house. That makes him very passionate, but in a logical, scientific way. Aquarius is very scientific, very progressive, very forward-moving. He's thinking about all of society, and he's passionate about it. He's passionate about all of society. And 5th house is also a house of fame. It can be, potentially, because it's the original house of Leo. So this is further giving him recognition. He's bringing passion to his ascendant Lord. And 8th house, is ups and downs. So crisis can come from here, but incredible depth of knowledge, research, deep awareness of secrets, deep. 8th house, Pluto, Scorpio, they're all just like deep roots, deep penetrating, right? So he's bringing depth and passion and action to himself here. Very motivated, very action oriented. Mars brings action to, this is ascendant Lord, so it's the significator of him, making him very action oriented, very passionate, and about Aquarian things and adding to his fame potential. Pluto opposite Sun, again, that depth of perception, that psychological awareness. He's going to understand psychology really well with Pluto opposite Sun, because again, Sun in Pisces is not too far away from the house of psychology, which would be Scorpio. Neptune is Scorpio. He's already got this connection. Trine, you can understand psychology here, and Mars Venus ruling the 8th house, conjuncting his Mars, 7th house, 2nd house. So he really does have a good understanding of psychology, applies that into his, when he speaks on stage or when he, works with people. And that's very powerful. And just to give you an idea of Pluto, the way Pluto and Scorpio works with their psychological power, especially as applied to the Sun, when it's, conjunct the Moon, it's more psychic, but when it's conjunct when it's aspecting the Sun, it's more like psychological perception, meaning that the psychologist wants to be able to break down others into their psychological components and understand them in ways that they can better know the person than they don't know themselves. So the psychologist, it will tell the person about themselves and help them understand themselves. But in doing so, they actually have the power over them to even to manipulate and control them. So that's the thing about psychologists. It can go one of two ways. And depending on whether the person is more Saturnian, meaning they're trying to make their lives harder, or Jupiterian, which means they're trying to make their life better. So the Pluto Sun person has power over the others, and they can either use that power to help or to hinder Jupiter or Saturn, the person. And obviously, Tony Robbins is much more of a Jupiterian type person. He's trying to help people. So he uses his Pluto power to help people, because that Pluto power does have that ability. But he can easily manipulate people if he wanted to. Like, don't think for a second that this could not turn into, and other people with Pluto Sun aspects, somebody who can really take advantage of people and really abuse their power, really have control over them, because they understand psychology so well. That's the power of a psychologist, of Scorpio, of 8th house. Incredible ability to manipulate and control others through psychology, right? So let's see. I think I talked about everything. Okay, North Node in the 12th house. Again, this, after age 42, North Node becomes super active, becomes predominant. And the 12th house here is going to lead him towards more spiritual understanding. It's in Virgo. So again, we're having that polarity. Virgo is the natural ruler of the 6th house. So it's combining opposites, like a very critical, surgical understanding of the spiritual realm, right? The deep hidden side of life, the subconscious mind. I mean, he's a real therapist, this guy. Like, he can really understand how people tick. This Pluto is deep in the 11th house, approaching the 12th house. So he's getting a very 12th house feel, a deep subconscious psychological feel for himself, for people. And these squares, they don't bother me. I mean, Neptune is squaring, Mars and Venus. That would create potentially some delusional type thinking or actions based on delusions. Maybe potential towards drug indulgence, but I just think he's too strong. Like, like I said, if it happened when he was young, he quickly learned these lessons because he's so disciplined, so smart, so philosophical. He just turned these into the best aspects, the best side of the potential conjunction aspect, like a trine. He quickly turned these red lines into blue lines, made them work for him instead of against him. Incidentally, here's Pallas conjunct Saturn, Pallas Athena. It's an asteroid, so it's minor, but Pallas gives somebody good pattern recognition skills. It's a very intellectual asteroid, but also wisdom. It has elements of like Jupiter and Mercury together, because it's very wise and strategic and thoughtful, but also intellectual powers, and it recognizes patterns very well. So Saturn here would give him this very well-developed sense of pattern recognition in business. I mean, let's not forget Capricorn, not necessarily business, but like career success. This is one of the reasons he's such a success. Like, he not only has like all the self-development, he has this tremendous ability to organize his own career success, right? He's a self-made man. So yeah, guys, this is what the chart of a motivational speaker looks like. A Tony Robbins motivational speaker. Like, the guy's a giant. Like literally, he's like a giant, and he's a giant in spirit too. Huge being. This is what it looks like. Amazing. All right, that's pretty much it for now. I'll be back tomorrow with another one. Hope you enjoy this. Don't forget to go to my website if you want to book a reading, macroastrology.com, and like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.